Hey guys, Brian here. Welcome back to the shop. I don't normally get to do a viewer mail deal like some of the guys, but I've got some stuff here together this time, so I thought I would do one. First off, I've got a package here from Bruce, which is, I believe he said he was going to send me a set of Moore calipers. I've not ever had any of that particular brand. I told him, I said, I normally use 8s and 12s, and I think this is a pair of 6s. But I'll certainly give them a try and see how they do. Maybe these would be good for doing up inside of holes. I know my little set of 8s, you can't use them on the backside. They're a set of Chinese ones, and they don't read right that way. They'll do a OD okay, but the IDs are wrong. So here's your Moore. I don't know if this is the same as Moore Federal or for just stealing the name or whatever. Well, it's got German writing in here. So I don't know if either are German. I got my doubts, but there's Chinese writing on these instructions, so I'm going to guess that that's where these are from, even though I don't see made in China on them. I don't see made in Germany either, so that'd be a pretty good hint that they're trying to hide that. Well, already on. They're pretty smooth. I don't know what this means by reference on here. If that means these numbers are not in the right place and it's not reliable. I don't particularly like the sounds of that. But, so thanks for these. I'll see how they do. I get different values when I close them, so I don't know, that doesn't really instill confidence. Maybe there's still some trash on here, or they need to get wore in. Yeah, they're doing okay now. And they are easy to move, so I gotta give them that. Kind of a thick profile though. Well, now it's reading 1 again. It was 0'd, and they're closed. I have to check into this further. This wasn't viewer mail, but I did get this nice railroad special J.H. Williams and Company warranty monkey wrench off eBay to replace the one that I broke trying to get these feet to move on the mill. I kind of need a crow's foot type action to get up in the space and get a hold of the nut, because there's not enough room for the wrench on the top side to go through, and it won't clear the floor on the other side. So I'm gonna give this a try on getting those to move. Maybe this one will be stronger than my other one. It looks beefier anyway. And I think this one's steel. That other one may have been cast. This is another eBay purchase. I intend to wind up doing an inspection on this. This is a master frame spirit level 2/10 per 10 inches, it says. This is the best in Chinese quality right here. So it's got the level down here. It does have an adjustment. So it adjusts basically the same as my other Chinese levels, which work okay. I gotta figure out a good method to test the actual squareness of this. I thought about measuring this surface with on the surface plate, getting this level and using my other precision level on here and then rotating it 90 degrees and seeing if the precision level still reads that it's level. But that would tell me that these sides were parallel, but it doesn't necessarily tell me that they're square to the end. So I gotta devise a method to check that. Or if anybody can think of a brilliant way to check that without having a square, let me know. So I don't have one of those fancy roll-in little squareness test indicators, and I don't have a cylinder square to zero it off of to check squareness with this. So I don't have a square to check a square. So I need a way to make to verify a square without a square. What's the best way to do that? It's all ground on here. Nothing's been scraped or anything. So if it does need squaring up, I should be able to do that. Use my scraping skills to improve that and then actually have a usable master square. I think actually for the price, if you're gonna buy a square and most of the time you've got room for this thing standing up tall, I think you're probably better off to buy one of these for the money than to buy the regular little machinist squares, because this was like $140 and the other ones are like 85. So for about twice the money you get something you can check 2 axes with, and that's handy to have when you're doing setups on pretty much anything. It's always good to be able to have a square and a level. So I think this would be a handy tool, and like I said, it's not a huge investment. So if I have to work on it to get it to where it's what it should be, it's not a big deal. This one here is a package from John Dunn rather, in Tennessee. He's a big buddy of Mike Wiggins, the backyard machines guy. He said he'd been in an auction somewhere and bought these big lot of cutters, and he was gonna pass some of them on. So let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, got some nice roughing end mills. Still got a decent edge on them. And he's done a good job of packing them all in here. Let me show. You can see they're all nice and individually wrapped so that they don't bang against each other and destroy all the cutting edges. That's a sign what somebody that knows what tooling's for. A lot of times you can buy stuff off eBay or something and they throw a bunch of end mills and reamers and stuff in a box and just let them pound against each other all the way across the country. They get here, that's bad. You don't want that. And this here is back viewer mail. This is from Smith County Machine and Welding in Virginia. And he said he had one of these access cards for my MillVision. At the time, the plan was to put this on to be able to add the third axis so I could put one on the table for the long travel. But who knows, maybe we'll have to swap this out for the one that's in there to get the 2 that are on there to read. Once I figure out what the deal is with them while they're not working. I thought he pulled this out of a machine, but if he did, apparently he's got some of that computer wrap laying around. This looks like a brand new board. Yeah, 7/14/92. Maybe it's not new. Everything's pretty clean on it though. So I'll either give this a try in the third axis, because I don't know for sure whether it'll work for that. The part number's a little different, but they appear to be the same. I'll compare it more closely when I take this other one apart to see if it is possible to use a AB axis module in any position in the readout. And if that doesn't work, I'll stick this thing on to the one that's not working and see if maybe it makes that work. So I'll check this out. Thank you very much for sending this in. I think this will be a valuable asset to getting this thing diagnosed and back working again. Swap gnostics, that's what I'm good at. Then in other news, if you've noticed during this video, sitting on top of the trailer, there's a few new goodies that I bought. Sadly, another factory closing down, going out of business, all their business being shipped to China. So let's see what I picked up. The first item there is a brand new, never used 40 horse Baldor USA made, I think it's a TFC motor, total enclosed, fan cooled. That's like what I have had on my old phase converter. So that is, if I don't have any other use for it, I can use that to tandem up with my existing phase converter and increase the capacity of it. So I should be able to hit 90 horse then worth of power, which is about what my supply into the building will handle. So if I have any problems with the CNC over there with voltage issues with it running, I can hook this up in addition to my AI 50 horse phase converter over there, and hopefully get that all straightened out where it works. That was a scrap price on that. There's another scrap price item there. Got a Hammond 10-inch tool grinder. Got the nice tables on it. This thing's been sitting in the basement for a while, but got some fancy moving guards, moving tables on it. Nice big coolant trays. So, pretty nice little tool grinder, I think. And it runs. This is the one piece I actually had hooked power to, tested out. So, cute little grinder. Then the other cute thing we got here is another bigger heat treat oven. This one here is a Westinghouse electric furnace. I can't find much information about them. It says max temp is 1850, so this one doesn't go quite as hot as my other one does, but for most stuff that'll get you where you need to go. For anything besides tool steels, that'll get all your regular heat treat steels done. So that's I'm not sure, but it's possible that this furnace was made in the same plant where I got the drill, because that came out of a Westinghouse factory that built heat treat ovens, although gigantic ones. I don't know if they built these little ones there or not. There's some kind of relationship between these and heavy duty, I think, but I don't really know exactly what it is. So there's not much information to be found on these Westinghouses, but it's a good heavy, good sized furnace. You can see nothing. Came with a few little pieces there. It's got an air cylinder for the door, open and shut with a foot pedal, so that's kind of slick. Throw it in on the deal too. It's a 15-inch 4-jaw. Can't remember who I decided this was. It says steel in Great Britain, Connecticut, and it's got some hand shaking on it. I can't see, but anyway, when I looked these up, I found they were kind of a weak chuck apparently. And clearly that's the case, because there's one of the jaws in it. It's all stripped, junked out. So pretty much a junk chuck. I can use it for faceplate work. I may rig it up to put on the rotary table, and I can clamp stuff in from the T-slots or something from the outside, or maybe make a new jaw. I did get him to throw in this piece of steel on the deal, so maybe I can make a new jaw out of that at some point in time. Get this thing back working again. Other than that, it's not a terrible condition chuck. It doesn't look like it's had a lot of use, but it was sitting in pretty much a flooded basement, so it's had a limited life. So I don't know how they stripped all them teeth off. The screw doesn't appear to be damaged, but it must be made out of a lot better stuff than those jaws. Those jaws must be weak. And to give it the once over, see if he approves of the new shop tools. See, he's nice and wet. He's enjoying this rain again, since it rains like every 2 days all year here. You can see the wet little footy prints. 19 by 13 by 46 chamber inside, so I can get some pretty good sized stuff in there to heat treat it. I could actually get my cam cores in there, and probably even a billet crankshaft for most small engines. It's a 25 kilowatt though, so you don't want to have this running too much. It will eat up on your meter while it's running. Got some vintage instruments over here on the side. That's your temp control on the bottom. Regulated from 1,000 to 2,400. It's got triple pyrometers inside, and that is a data graph which actually writes down the temperature, I guess, at various times. Creates an actual chart. So there's a bunch of chart papers that came with it. So if I wanted to do batch heats and keep records of it, I could get that to work maybe, as long as that all does work. I was told everything on here worked when the factory shut down. That was 4 years ago. It hasn't been plugged up since. There's no power in the building where this was to test it, but you know, if it doesn't, it's not a huge loss. I don't have a lot invested in it. I bought all this for the price of what that electric motor would be worth. So I gotta get this unloaded and go get my plywood. I hope you enjoyed seeing these new acquisitions for the shop. The heat treat oven being my favorite. I like doing the heat treating, and you make steel a whole lot stronger than you can without it. So it's a good thing to have if you're wanting to make it strong, or if you're wanting to anneal stuff, or if we got some big castings to weld up. You know, now I could stuff a cylinder head in there that was cracked up and weld it up, and then stuff it back in there and get the temp up on it and stress relieve it real good and make it less likely to crack, and probably do a good repair on some cylinder heads. So maybe, you know, some antique iron that's obsolete, can't be fixed or replaced anymore. Might be a good market there I can get into fixing that stuff up for people. There's plenty of old junk out there that needs fixed. So thanks for watching. All right, time for one of my favorites, some crane action. This thing's probably close to 6,000 pounds, maybe a little over. It was pretty well maxing out the forklift that we used to load it, which was a 6,000 rated, and you had to gun it to the floor to get it picked up. But got it on the crane here, and I'm gonna try and get it put over there. I don't know for sure that's where I'll keep it. I like that it's low profile. I could put it on this side, but I don't know that I want that wooden loft over top of a flaming furnace. It could be bad, although the door is out past it, so I just have to see. But for now, I'm gonna put it over there beside that post. Best I can. I don't think I can tuck it back in there like I want, because the crane's gonna hit before I get back that far. So I need to get a hold of a pallet jack, preferably one with 6-foot forks on it that I can put down here for moving a lot of this stuff around. But let's see if we get this unloaded. Now, that's as far back as I'm gonna be able to go right there. Well, I'd say that's another successful heavy lifting move. I said I do need to find a pallet jack that I can use in here so I can jack that thing up and roll it back against the wall, get it moved back, or I might have to take a tractor and just shove it back. Hate to scrape up my floor though. At least it doesn't have that high dollar epoxy on it, so I won't feel bad about that. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, I'll catch y'all later.